Now our next story is about floods wreaking havoc in India and across the world. As northeast monsoons lash parts of southern India, several parts of cities like Chennai, Bengaluru are submerged as torrential downpour shows no signs of abating. From across the world, heavy rains have swept parts of Oman and adverse weather conditions have been forecast across parts. Back in April, floods in Oman had killed at least 18. In early October, floods had also affected Bosnia as well as West and Central Africa, killing hundreds and displacing hundreds and thousands. Is it climate change at its worst? Our next report answers the question.
In the South Indian city of Chennai, heavy rainfall has brought the city to a virtual standstill. The Tamil Nadu state government declared a public holiday for Wednesday in view of the floods. Schools were ordered to be shut for the day as rain flooded the streets of the city with knee-deep waters.
Road transportation has been rattled due to these rains. The government is unable to provide a permanent solution to this problem. They only remember work during the monsoon. The police are only helping us out here.
The downpour was triggered by a low-pressure area over the Bay of Bengal. Authorities said they have made appropriate arrangements to deal with the situation, while local citizens complained of a lack of action by the concerned civic bodies.
In anticipation of this rain, for example, the 10 teams of NDRF and SDRF have already been placed. Around 26 teams have been placed in all these 4 plus 3 coastal districts, 5 coastal districts. So that has already been done. The boats, in case waterlogging is anticipated in area, boats have already been placed with the manpower so that we don't lose any time.
The Regional Weather Office has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall in the region, with a forecast of extremely heavy rainfall in some areas. A total of 26 disaster management teams have been deployed to tackle the flood situation. In another southern city of Bengaluru, heavy rain led to severe waterlogging. Footage circulating online showed alarming conditions, with city streets submerged in rainwater. But it's not just South India. Heavy rain and floods creating havoc in cities across the world. In Oman's Muscat, several people were rescued after torrential rain caused a tropical storm. It left many parts inundated. Schools were closed and safety alert was issued in the wake of the storms. Authorities have urged public to remain indoors. Severe weather is forecast across much of Oman. Thunderstorms accompanied by heavy downpours, strong winds, and possible hail are forecast. Monsoons have also wreaked havoc across West Asia and Central Africa. In recent weeks, Chad, Mali, and Niger saw residents wade through floodwaters or boat along submerged street. Some 6.6 million people are affected by West and Central Africa's monsoon. Its annual trail of destruction has become all too familiar in this part of the world. This season, though, torrential rains in some Sahel countries on the fringes of the Sahara have burst dams, flooded desert towns, and killed over 1,460 people. The monsoon has only exacerbated the many humanitarian crises gripping one of the world's poorest regions.
We're at a critical moment, I'd say, and I think the West Africa and Central Africa case exemplifies that, because the forecasts were there. The forecast data indicated enhanced rainfall is very likely.
Floods are the most common and costliest disaster for Africa, and these costs are rising. The continent's disaster-linked economic loss, many due to floods, storms and drought, has jumped 52% in 2010 to 19.
It's really complicated for us. We don't know what to do. We are forced to move, to find shelter somewhere. We have become climate refugees. I have become a climate refugee, and we are struggling with it. If only the authorities could find a solution in advance, so that every year it wasn't just water, water, water and floods. This year it has gone beyond the usual. It has exceeded expectations. But we are holding on. We are in it. Don't forget, we are here.
Worse is forecast for the conflict-torn and flood-insecure Sahel. The region is increasingly threatened by floods due to changes in natural climate patterns, greater rainfall intensity, poor urban planning and other causes.
If you monitor the West African monsoon system, you will notice that over the past 15 years or so, the West African monsoon system has been extremely active. That means that we have had torrential rainfall surpluses almost every year happening in West Africa during the summer season, especially between July and September.
Some of these events are foreseeable. Climate experts say that global warming has increased the frequency and intensity of rain. They say that West Africa is already in a natural, decades-long period of wetter monsoons. Ahead of this rainy season, forecasters were predicting heavier than usual rainfall in certain areas, yet millions were caught off guard. Deadly rainfall and floods have unleashed its fury around the world. On Tuesday, hundreds of people gathered in Bosnia's southern town of Jablanica. They were attending the funeral prayers of 19 villagers who died in flash floods and landslides, which swept through central and southern Bosnia. They converged around caskets covered in traditional Islamic cloth. At least 26 people died when floods which wiped out villages across Bosnia and Herzegovina.
This is a very hard day. One cannot prepare for it, to be strong for it, to search for strength, to go through it. This first scene I saw here simply crushed me. It is hard to be here today in any capacity. I am here today in the capacity of Imam of Donja Jablanica congregation, but above all in the capacity of a neighbor of these people, the people with whom, after all, I shared the same destiny, for whatever happened that night also happened to me and my family, and to these victims who unfortunately were not lucky enough to save their lives. They did have neither an opportunity nor time to save themselves from torrential waters.
World over, extreme climate conditions has resulted in devastating floods and landslides. Natural disasters have claimed thousands of lives. In early October, death toll from rain-induced floods crossed 217 in Nepal. Before that, in September, at least 226 people killed from Typhoon Yagi in Myanmar. In May, at least 41 were killed in western Indonesia from flash floods, and there are much more. It is proof that climate crisis is real. Evidently, authorities around the world aren't nearly prepared. Is this the wake-up call we need?
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.